Hey everybody, it's your boy Protagonist JWa with Gardening with JWa, and this right here is a New Zealand lemonade. As you can see, this thing is super productive. And as I mentioned in a previous video, I think once I have to wait till the flowering's done. This thing won't stop flowering though. It's just been flowering non-stop. And then it'll thin itself, and then because you shake it, and then all the thinned fruit that itself thins will come off, and then I cut off the rest. And the white stuff is the kaolin clay, just to protect it. I like to give newly planted citrus a little kaolin clay and some paint on the trunk, as you can kind of see, just to help protect it. So then you can, and what's cool about that too, when you do that, is you can see the new growth. So you see all that stuff that's green. Look at that. That's all new growth. So it's kind of a cool way to tell progress of a newly planted citrus, is you can kind of see all the new growth on it. When I look out, look at this. Look at this jungle. It's a monster field out here. I still got to finish doing these 3 raised beds. So that'll be a project, to say the least. I cut the grass yesterday, as you can see. Killing off the grass, huge struggle of life and death. And I got to weed the raised beds. So I don't care if the raised beds get stuff like this. I think this is like wood sorrel or whatever. For my purposes, I'm just going to call it clover. But this isn't technically clover, I believe. I think this might be wood sorrel. One way to find out would be to try to eat it, but that seems kind of sketchy. So then I have all the other weeds, right? Quote unquote weeds. You know, you got this guy. I let the bees hit it, and then I let it go to seed, and then the finches eat a lot of those seeds and then also spread them. So like everyone wins, right? The bees get their pollen, the finches get their seeds, and then this spreads and continues. And then obviously the way I kind of operate with weeds is I just smush them down, and I'm essentially using weeds to kill the grass. So where I have weeds, I don't have grass anymore. And this is all clover. And then this is, I think it's like mallow. It's like cheese wheels, that's what they call it. Pretty chill. And then way buried in there is my freaking red Malaysian guava, just buried by freaking like common green, like snap pea. I'm gonna call it snap pea, but it's like produces these little green beans, which you can eat, by the way. They're not as tasty as like a sugar snap pea, but they are edible and not bad. But I let these go to seed, so they seed themselves. So once they get hot, these guys die. I chop them back, and then they'll seed themselves and go again. They produce flowers. I mean, the real thought process I kind of have here is I have like crappy Arizona new build soil that I've shown in previous videos. So the way I look at it is, these guys are all cool because these weeds are seasonal. They will die in the heat. I will chop them down, and they will be biomass and organic matter for the soil. They also, a lot of these weeds produce these deep tap roots. So when they die back, sometimes they come back from the same tap root, but sometimes they actually die, and that'll break up and put organic matter deep into the soil, which is what I want, right? But the way I look at it is, all of these guys, except for the grass is like my biggest regret in the world, because it's shallow roots, it chokes everything out, it grows to like 3 feet tall, it's impossible to kill, it has no value, I hate it. But everything else, I look at them all as like mini solar panels. So effectively, they suck up all the sun, right? And then they pump that energy down to their roots and feed the soil life, or help complete that life cycle. So in my mind, the more solar panels I have, the more energy. The more energy I'm able to capture, the more that gets pumped into the ground, the more the soil biome is alive, the better my soil health will be, and then obviously the trees will thrive because of it. It's kind of like this little life cycle that I try to do. This is my apple tree, which is, I'm not going to get a lot of apples because I did a huge pruning to essentially prune it to my height, and I reset a lot of stuff. So now the wood spurs, some of the wood spurs kind of got to kind of reset out and go from there. That's why I also did a lot of painting in certain spots, as you can see, to kind of help protect it from the sun. I am going to get some apples. Typically on apples, you want to thin them to just 1. They produce 5 flowers. You thin them to 1, which is, yeah, cutting 80% of your fruit. You do that, you're going to get massive apples. I'm in Arizona. I get apples the size people don't even believe because I thin it just down to 1. You can also get away with thinning it to 2, but you got to be careful because I know in certain areas, certain pests will put bugs right between the 2, or eggs right between the 2, so it'll be a problem, which is why people typically say just thin to 1. You'll get plenty of apples. Like one tree this size would literally has 85 apples on it when I just thin to 1. And then the birds obviously get a portion, so I end up getting like 50. And they're like the size of softballs. So you don't really lose. Although in Arizona, the apples, unfortunately, aren't that great. These things make great, like these things are great for apple pie. Like you can cut them in slices, freeze them, take them out, use them in apple pie. Just use less water because obviously the frozen stuff will have more juice and you will get an amazing consistency in apple pie. So that's what I do with these. I just freeze them, chop them up, freeze them, use them for apple pies in the fall. That's what they're good for. You can also use them in smoothies as well. But fresh eating, by the time when you let them get really, 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 really sweet, they also get really, really, really mealy. There's a bee over there trying to figure out life. And that's the downside, is if you let it get sweet, it gets mealy in the texture. But that mealy texture works really well when you freeze it and then use it in a pie because it has that nice thickness to it. So that's my recommendation there. This guy, look at that. You can see all the new growth. You can see all the buds. I have removed the fruit of all the citrus that I said I was going to remove, except this guy, which is the Valencia. Oops. This guy, which is the Gold Nugget, and then that girl over there, which is the New Zealand. I gotta wait for them to stop flowering though. Once this sucker stops flowering, I will be able, like this guy's going crazy. Look at those blooms, super crazy. Once this guy stops flowering, I am gonna be in action mode. I'm gonna have to thin them all. This, if you're wondering, this is sorghum. Some of it, you can see, is going to like seed. I'm gonna let it go to seed. I'm gonna chop it at the base, and then I'm gonna spread it throughout certain areas. And essentially, this is just biomass. That's all it is. Biomass, solar panels, boom. And yeah, they can take away resources from a nearby fruit, citrus, or fruit tree. But then that's why I'm using my liquid fertilizer to really continuously produce that drip of nutrition, so I'm not screwing over my peaches and such. But yeah, that's the reason I didn't get production this year from this peach, is because it struggled in the summer, which it shouldn't have, because I wasn't properly giving it nutrition. Like I didn't feed it at all last year, and that was a huge mistake, especially because this thing produced like 50 peaches. It was insane. It produced so many peaches, and I didn't feed it at all, and I was a big mistake. It wasn't on purpose, guys. Oh, there's Petey. Hey, Petey, how's it going? You see that little, look, see Petey? See what Petey's doing right there? Petey's eating from the citrus. See, and this is also why I let my citrus go to work, because you want to let the pollinators and the bees, which is bees, hummingbirds, you want them to be able to have their fun, have their food, no problem. And that's what Petey's doing right now. We call every hummingbird Petey. Just easy. Oh, Petey's just taking a break now. Look at that. Super cute. But yeah, they're hitting up, you can't even see it, they're hitting up the weed flowers too. So they love it because this gives them biodiversity. Like in desert landscapes, they essentially have the same freaking landscape everywhere, which is like the same like 10 plants. So there's no biodiversity, and plants produces different types of minerals and nutrients that pollinators need. That's why they want biodiversity. Bees aren't healthy if the only thing they're eating is pollen from almond trees or pollen from peach trees. They need all the stuff, all the weeds. A lot of the weeds that are medicinal for us are medicinal for the bees too. It's kind of how I look at it. So that's why I let these guys do it. And I will always let the weed, like grass is the only thing I really want to kill off. The weed is seasonal. You chop it and drop it, adds biomass, which my soil desperately needs. So you don't lose. I don't lose. The pollinators win, the soil wins, the trees win. Everyone wins in this equation. But yeah, dude. And then I literally just chopped and dropped it. It was awesome. And then obviously this guy, I'm probably gonna give a coat or something, because I gotta maybe try to paint in there to protect it. Sorry if you hear the other dog. I'm not gonna thin this guy. This guy's got thorns. It just keeps producing flowers. Everything I remove, it just produces more. So I gave up. These are one of the ones that, according to that U of A extension, will produce like year round. So I just gave up. It has a thick enough trunk to where I feel comfortable giving up. Oh, and then the last thing I want to showcase, at least for this gardening vlog. Oh, crap. I'm literally dragging along green beans. They're not green beans, snap peas. Oh. Let me head on over there. One second. And I gotta weed these guys because the grass is coming up through there. Look at this. My watermelon. I don't know which watermelon it is though. It's one of the two. I'll know because I had a black watermelon and a non-black watermelon. So if the babies come out black, I'll know. Oh God, I love that line. Oh, my persimmon. Look at that beautiful baby. Finally popped. Finally. And like I said before, I'm gonna let this guy produce some fruit. I think it's gonna be awesome. And look how high that clover is. Like, this thing is not gonna struggle in the heat whatsoever. It's gonna thrive. Like, this is the perfect like microclimate. Like, you see this beautiful, loaded with berries. I don't know if you can see all of it. Dwarf everberry, mulberry. It's crazy. So like between that and this is like the perfect like little microclimate. And then you have another apple tree, which also has some apples on it, which is kind of crazy, but super awesome. You have the vetiver grass too, that in the summertime will get really, really big. So all these things kind of work synergistically together. Dude, this clover. Oh, you know what? The tall clover is the red clover, but I've never seen red clover this tall. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And then obviously you see all the green beans up there too. That's so crazy. This yard is popping. You got my freaking my olive. You can see. So this produced last year, but the freaking not bees, I'm sorry. The birds, apparently they like olives. There's also weeds mixed in here. I got to take all those weeds out. They're getting crazy. Oh shit. Look at that. Buds. I planted a bunch. I honestly fell in love with these freaking these guys right here. I might do a hedge just with these guys because you can kind of control them pretty easily. They don't get super big. They make a good hedge. And they can do well with the cold. They don't like the heat as much, but which makes them a little bit more shade tolerant, I think. So you can put them in really good spots. So this is you can also put them out in the sun too, for sure. But this is set up to where this guy gives this guy afternoon, shade. Because the sun sets there, it rises there. So pretty sweet. This is just a hard figgy, so it's not ready yet. We'll see what happens with this guy. This is a Violet de Bordeaux, so we shall see what happens. And then the freaking pomegranate. Out here putting in work. Look at all those blooms. It's freaking beautiful. And then my strawberries putting on blooms. Freaking phenomenal. I'm going to collect the seeds from the strawberry and from the lemon guava, and I'm going to put them in different places. That's my goal. I'm going to put them in different places to see what happens. Try to see if I can't get some production. Now we're getting a clearer picture. There's still some that need to grow a little bit, but I think in about a week I'll have the final count. Like, look at that, dude. Just look at all those berries. So crazy. Here's one. You know they're ready when they pop. Oh shit, I just dropped it. That's the difficult part, is all the berries are like intermittently being produced. That's pretty good. Throughout. But in a little bit, we're going to get buckets. It's super awesome. Oh, I also was going to talk about chill hours and kind of my realization there. It's kind of like a twofold piece, because I made a post, and Jay from Arizona Fruit Tree Nursery, he made a really good point about how in Arizona you gotta not only think about the chill hours, you also have to think about the heat hours, because we get so hot that there are fruit that technically could produce here because of the chill hours, but it gets so hot that the fruiting spurs just fry up and they don't actually produce. Or you get like, and this is in Arizona, this warm winter has really taught me a valuable lesson, because this is like the first time I had a freaking, like our burgundy plum is just not producing. The little guy over there, full of flowers, but the flowers don't stay because it can't handle them. Same with certain mulberries that need more chill, they need that cold time to recharge. So they'll still flower, but they don't hold on to any fruit because they haven't recharged. So I came to that unfortunate realization, which kind of changed how I want to view the new additions I'll be adding to the yard. So last thing I'll say, I got the alarm going. Last thing I'll say real quick before I got to go is, at some point when the money gods shine upon me, I want to get a patio, finish off our patio, and then that'll free up another strip and then a side piece. Then I'm going to add new fruit trees and stuff with, or at least that's the goal, unless Kim tells me no, my wife. And I was originally thinking citrus section, and then a bunch of stone fruits, but hybrids to get really maximize that. But now I'm kind of wondering, maybe I just do citrus and tropicals, because I really want to maximize the fruit production I get July, August, September, and October. That I feel is I think July through November is a weaker part. Obviously, I'll get persimmons starting in late October, so November, I'll have persimmons and stuff, so that can kind of cover the piece there. But really, July through October, I think the only way I'm going to bridge that gap are mangoes and guava and pears. So I might switch to something a little bit more different than I originally intended. And the reason I'm sitting over here, excuse me, little guy, my baby's alive. My baby came back. I'm so happy. I thought I brutally lost you, but it came back stronger than ever. And then this little guy, we'll see what the hell he becomes. I might just remove him, to be honest. Not even bother. I already got this guy, and then the vetiver grass here. So I might just do that and see if the loquat seedling doesn't look like it's gonna make it. Oh man. Ooh, I missed the dog poop. Almost. Thank goodness I didn't step in it. Nothing worse. Like, I will say, last thing I'll leave this one with. One of the downsides is high density planting. Two downsides. Well, I am tall, so I gotta kind of bend over a lot, right? Because I'm trying to have the trees not be too huge, so I can maximize the density. But B, when you have a bunch of dogs, they poop. When you have it super high density, they're limited in where they can poop. So if you don't, especially when it's not hot, when it's hot, the poop dries out like that. But in the winter time, in the fall time, in the springtime, the poop doesn't. So the dogs are more prone to like stepping on it. So I pick up poop 2 times a day, morning and night, and you have to, because I have like 3 dogs, right? So you have to. So that's the one thing. If you have a bunch of dogs and you do high density planting and you don't leave them like a green space, you will need to pick up poop way more. Before I pick up once a day, now I pick 2 to 3 times a day. sometimes 3, because I just, I pay attention to where the dogs are going. And if they're pooping in the main path, I'll go pick that up so another dog, when they run around, because they like to run around in between the trees, they don't step in it. So that is a uncommon thing people don't think about when they plant high density like this, is, hey, if you have dogs, you kind of either train them all to go to like one micro spot, which I feel like is mission impossible, or you got to pick up poop a lot. And it is what it is. So I'm going to leave you with that, guys. Appreciate you. It's your boy, Protagonist JWa Gardening with JWa, and I'm out.